Let me tell you how I got involved in coaching. The 1968 Mexico Olympics were the first Olympic Games that I can remember. The men's 10,000 metres took less than 30 minutes, yet landed what my grandfather from Cloniglasha used to call a wow moment. The race was won by Neftali Timu from Kenya. Mamo Wulde from Ethiopia was second, and Neftali Timu from Tunisia was third. Those names sank into my brain. I loved the sounds. I still do. I had little idea where Kenya, Ethiopia, or Tunisia were. But the immediate impact was that I ran alongside Timu, Wulde, and Gamudi every day. I was with them, they were with me, in tempo, in rhythm. The excited commentary nearly always called me home in first place. An international field, as I ran alone, but with company around Parkmore, the racecourse in my hometown. But so what, you might say? Well, without a coach, I could still be there. Without a coach, I could still be in Parkmore with my imaginary Olympic friends. Do you have imaginary friends? I imagine we all do. A coach, a really good one, helped transform my private world out into the open. That was the start of it. That's when I realized that coaching is a worthy activity, an exciting activity. You could say, I'm obsessed by it, I love it. You could also say, I'm challenged by it. I'm sometimes confused. I'm sometimes scared a little. I still make mistakes, a few. I'm still learning. There's no end to that roller coaster journey. My dad died suddenly a number of years ago. So at his funeral, I met a number of people who had spoken to him just a few days before. A shy farmer called Joe was one of the people I met. Joe told me they spoke about my job as a coach's coach. We couldn't make head nor tail of it, he told me. Now, I was okay with that, but what he added next had a little bit of an edge to it. So we came to the conclusion, he told me, that you couldn't be up to much. Boom. Now, that was a wow moment of a different kind. But you see, Joe had a point. Despite appearances, coaches are not essential. Players and athletes don't need us. Give them a ball or a track or whatever else they need, and off they can go. And of course, there's more to coaching than meets the eye. Good coaches make the complex look simple. Our effectiveness as coaches hinges on two words. Imagine, two words. Two words can be the balance on which all, and I mean all, our meaningful work can rest. It's like walking a high wire. A word too late. A word too early. Raised eyebrows. A smile that isn't smiley enough. One session too many or too few. The two words are it depends. It depends on a whole load of things. It depends on what a friend wonderfully described one time as being whatever intangible scent is floating in the air at the time. Most times, there's more than one right answer. Now, that might seem comforting, but it can be scary too. It can be scary and liberating. Coaching is not about doing the same thing all the time. It's about doing the right thing all the time. And walking that particular decision-making high wire is never easy. So before I go any further, let me clarify three pillars about coaching that I lean on regularly. One, we coach people, not sport, not business. We coach people who run, jump, throw, play football. We coach people who want to improve their business practices or live their lives in more meaningful ways. Two, there is a knack to it. There is a blend of core coaching skills: plan, demonstrate, organise, mixed in with a raw passion and enthusiasm for what you do. 3, people who work well around others are inevitably good coaches. But put it another way, if you have good coaching skills, you'll be a good parent, a good employer, a good employee, a good person to have in a community. Because coaching is essentially about being around other people. Great coaches make the simple look really, really complex. I once worked with a great coach who had that ability of being able to share those moments all the time. Sometimes at the start of sessions, Lars stood tall, put his arms out wide and said, "God, it's great to be alive." Lars knew that when you're coaching, you're really living, you're truly connected. He loved helping people. And he knew better than most that helping comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes, even surprises. Great coaches like Lar pick those times astutely. When it's safe, when the person is ready, when it's time. Great coaches like that learn to trust themselves. They learn to let go, let fly, forget. "You have listened long enough" is a memorable line from Seamus Heaney. So coaching can depend on lots and lots of things. I like to boil it down to just 2. Great coaches demonstrate well, and great coaches are most active as coaches when the players are most active as players. I call it the coaches D and A. Great coaches demonstrate well and activate well. So let's look a little bit more closely at that. D is for demonstrate. A demonstration is about what ought to be good. So a demonstration ought to be good. A picture paints 1,000 words. So demonstrations are potentially powerful. A silent demonstration. Now there's one you mightn't have thought about. Silent demonstrations challenge people to watch, to analyze, to work things out for themselves. It's not about what I say or do, it's about what you see. For example, watch this silent demonstration of a basketball shot, and you work out what my head, arms, and legs are doing. Okay, you ready? Okay. Now you were probably distracted because I absolutely aced the shot, yeah? And you may be unsure about what my head, arms, and legs were doing. See, when you invite somebody to watch a silent demonstration, you improve their awareness skills, you arouse their awareness. My answers may dull your senses. Good coaches help people find their own answers. But the kind of demonstration I'm most interested in is entirely different. The kind of demonstration that interests me most can be applied in all sorts of life situations. Imagine this. Imagine the people you work with or coach wear tracksuits or uniforms or whatever. Imagine on the back of those outfits, in bold capital letters, is written, "I am coached by." Imagine your name written on the back of those outfits. What behaviors would you like those people to demonstrate? It's a tough question, isn't it? It depends, you might say. Great coaches, great everybody's, consider when and where and how character traits can be developed. There's opportunities all over the place. Sport is emotional. So are most of the things that really matter. They bring us to a knife edge. They drag us unbeknownst, unknowingly, into that high wire world of it depends. It's not easy to practice grace and humility style and panache in moments where there's a lot resting on what happens at times like that, where you're trying to balance one thing off against the other. Nonetheless, life skills can be integrated and practiced in a multitude of situations. This is an ideal time to move people beyond what I call mediocre habits and immaturities. This is an ideal time to stretch people, to perform better and to behave better. Sport, work, relationships should enlarge the soul, not swell the ego. Ego. I played a lot of basketball when I was at school, and sometimes on court I lost the cool. One day, my coach, Brother Willie Morgan, took me aside quietly. I'd lost my temper one more time, and he made it clear that if it happened again, he'd take me off. It did, and he stuck to his word. For a few games, I sat seething on the bench, but gradually the lesson seeped through. It was up to me. A valuable life skill had been superbly taught by a conscientious coach. There's no quick fix to those kind of things. So enough about demonstration. A is to activate. When players are busy, when they are active, coaching really begins. Now you might say, oh, that's obvious. However, that's a time when some coaches relax. They take a breather. It's not that they take their eye off the ball, they set their eye on the ball. But remember, coaching is about people, not about footballs. This is not a time for them to shout and roar, wave their hands in the air. Far from it. In fact, that's nonsense. That's an annoying stereotype. You'll do some of your best coaching when people don't notice you at all. No, this is a time when coaches watch. They analyze, they compare, they match what's happening to a master blueprint. They match what's happening to past performances. They look for reactions, improvements, behaviors, patterns. This is a magic, exhilarating time. This is a busy time. This is a time when coaches might move about or stand still. Do you step in? Do you stay put? It depends. I once worked with an inspirational coach who had the gift of looking for the best in people. It was said of Jerry that he saw the good in a fella before most of us saw the fella. Emily Dickinson puts it beautifully. She said, or wrote, "They might not need me, but they might. I let my head be just in sight. A smile as small as mine might be, precisely their necessity." I like that. They might not need me, but they might. You see, it depends. When I think back again on my early school days, I find myself in a place I call the Mossy Bank. I imagine you all have a place like the Mossy Bank. My Mossy Bank was a bowl cut out of the earth with soft grass as a carpet. It was at the end of McGrath's field, not near enough to my home. With friends, we jumped, tumbled, wrestled, rolled, threw things and played footballs. We rested and chatted within its soft slopes. But I could still be there. I could still be there, disconnected from other places and other people. With the help and encouragement, I could still be there without the help of a coach who slowly helped release personality in a growing child. With his help and encouragement, I began to race in real, beautifully named places. Claremorris, Mayo Abbey, Hollymount, Kilmaine, Cloughannover, Uachtarard, Roscahill. And in time, I progressed to bigger settings. Neftali Timu, Mame Wulde, and Muhammad Gamoudi, remember those? They never travelled with me. Real opponents kept me grounded. Real people became real friends. I'm lucky I'm a coach. It's an absolute privilege. I love the variety. I love the challenge. It's a precarious, unpredictable, inspirational role. It depends on tiny, everyday, personal things. And even at that, as my daughter Roisin once said, it's not all about you, Dad. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.